I guess, Dave, first off, have you decided on a starting pitcher for tomorrow?
Yeah, Brady Tiger.
I figured. Well, what do you, obviously he's been on a pitch count. What do you want to see out of him tomorrow from terms of pitches and how long he might go?
Same as last week, 65, 70, somewhere in there. And then if everything's good after that start, he should be good to do whatever next weekend.
And then the plan after Brady?
All available. Depends on the score, depends on who's up. Just try to win tomorrow. They're all pretty much ready to go. I think we could use McIntyre if we needed to, and Adcock and Wood, and the other guys. So
there it is.
I think everybody's available pretty close.
How do you say Brady's pitched since he's come back?
I think he's pitched really well, throwing a lot of strikes. Not relying on his breaking ball, throwing a lot of fastballs, spotting it up. Good changeup. I think he's pitched like a starter and could close, but pitched like a starter.
Now, when whoever you play, you're going to be familiar with them. Since we don't know, and you probably don't want us bugging you at like 6 o'clock or something. If it's A&M, what would you say about playing A&M?
Yeah, just deep bullpen, solid defense. I mean, we've been very fortunate to win the games against them this year. Played some tight games with them and made a couple big plays, pitched well against them. I mean, we're just both really familiar with each other. Just a really good Division I baseball team.
And if it's LSU, what would you say about LSU?
Powerful lineup. They can hurt you fast. A little more play for big innings. Try to hit the ball over your head, out of the park. A&M's more of a team that they can hit homers, and they do, but they'll also run on you. LSU's going to kind of sit and hit and grind it out, and if you make mistakes, they can beat you bad.
Yeah, Jace has had a great year. He's leading in hit and home runs, hit by pitches, I think runs. But I think before he had that single last night, that big single, I think he was like 1 for 29 stretch, or maybe 2 for 29.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it worse than it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, what did you see when he was struggling? Because everybody's going to struggle, and then how he, that's got such a big hit, even though he's been struggling.
Well, I think he had a home run at Vandy, and then he finally got that base hit yesterday, which ended up being the difference in the ball game. So it was clutch for us in that situation. And then, what I've seen from him is what I see from a lot of hitters. They're, things go your way, it's all good, you feel good, and then you're not really, when it doesn't go good, you start questioning your swing, or if you're holding the bat right, you need to move around in the box, you need to make all these adjustments. And also the fact that it's late in the season and he's been our guy, and then he's struggling. I think he's just pressing, and hopefully that swing and that base hit loosen him up a little bit, and he'll just go back to being himself. So I think he's fine.
How about his season overall? Because he played, when your outfield was banged up, he played all 3 positions at various times. Like I say, even with the recent struggles, he's still got great offensive stats. What would you say about his season overall?
I think, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 9.5, and he's played great. Like you said, he's played all outfield positions, and you stick a guy that's playing right, a big guy in center, you'd think some things are going to happen. Not going to get the balls. I thought he did a great job those 2.5, 3 weeks when Tavian was out. Made all the plays. It wasn't like we were worried about it, and. Left field's a hard position, and he played it easy, and just did a tremendous job there. I mean, he's been a great teammate, great makeup guy, and he worked hard this offseason to make sure that he had the season that he knew he could. And obviously, I've said it a few times, we wouldn't be where we are with the record we have without him.
He's been hit by pitch 16 times. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, well, they try to finish him in. They try to throw fastballs in on him, and they know that if they miss and it stays over the plate a little bit, he can hit it out of the park, and so they're really trying to get it to the corner, maybe a few inches in, jam him, maybe get a call, and a lot of times they hit him.
I'm going to ask a couple things about Peyton Holt too. We're working ahead a little bit, kind of like you coaches do, Just the way he seems like he's making every play on defense, whether it's the routine is spectacular. He's obviously hitting about 400, running the base as well. What do you think about what he's giving y'all?
He's when you look at the number of games he's played, you count the few years at Crowder, played on teams that won, and he was a big part of it. Played in national tournaments. I don't feel like the stage is too big for him. I think he's older. He's confident. He got off to a good start when he got in there full time, and he hasn't slowed down. And he brings a lot of attitude and toughness to our lineup, and I just appreciate his effort. He's been great.
You obviously had a stud there in Stovall, but you look at Holt's numbers, and I realize Crowder's not the SEC, but man, he had great numbers over there. What were you expecting from him? What kind of fault? I remember Slavin's, I guess you let him manage. He said he was bad in Holt cleanup in fall ball.
We hit him all over the place in fall ball. We played him all over the place. We felt like he would be a utility guy. And he had some good days at the plate, but he had some bad days at the plate, like a lot of guys do in the fall, trying to hit our pitching. And we had more arms at the time, and we just kept coming at him with guys. And, we knew that he was going to help us this year. We didn't know if he was going to be an everyday starter or not, but we thought he would be in and out of the lineup at different positions, including outfield. Who knows? If people hadn't got hurt on the infield, he might have moved out there when some injuries happened. And but it's been good watching him and seeing the success that he's had. His teammates really like him. You can tell that.
His hat. I was telling somebody he should get a tighter helmet, and they said, well, I think he likes showing off his hair. What do you think about the way his batting helmet always flies off when he's running the bases?
Yeah, I don't pay attention to it too much. I do know that we have a few guys with their helmets pretty wiggly because they haven't been they don't fit very good, honestly. And it's either too big or too small, so they go with the one that's too big. And it's been kind of a strange deal because that's a thing. And I don't really care, just as long as he's rounding the bases, but it probably means he got a hit. I don't care if he knocks it off himself.
And the numbers he's putting up, just how big a surprise,
Well, he's made a little adjustment in his swing. It's a lot flatter now. It was he dipped his head a little more in the fall, and I think he's really worked on that. And he's just done a good job, And he has bat speed, he has strength, and he's got at-bats under his belt. At least they're not all at the Division I level, but he's got at-bats against guys that throw well, and you got to take a step forward at the Division I level in the SEC, and he's done it.
Coach, what impacts, if any, does having this day between games for your team, positive, negative, anything like that?
Well, I think the positive is, I don't think there's any negative at all. The positive is that we get to come out here and just get them out of the hotel, and we're not out here running around fielding ground balls, and we have access to two fields right here. And the only one who took ground balls was, Bolton, trying to figure out that ankle a little bit. He's just about there, and just to lift a little bit and relax and just kind of sit back and, see who we're going to play. I don't know if, as far as winning or losing the game tomorrow, I don't think, this day off is maybe going to determine that, but it sure doesn't hurt it.
How's Bolton doing in his recovery?
Doing real good. He's probably game ready. He's had a great week of working out, a trainer working with him, doctor working with him, and they just told me he was like 98% on all the tests, so that means he could play, and he really wants to play. I mean, the kid played at Austin Peay from Memphis and grew up seeing this tournament, and he really wants to play in the SEC tournament, so you'll probably see him out there tomorrow.
He'll probably be back in the lineup?
Probably.
Okay. When you're going well for most of the year and then you go through a stretch like that, kind of how do you deal with it, and then how good was it? And you hit a home run at Vandy, but I think you were 1 for 15.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I'm not trying.
No.
But it makes the story better. It's more dramatic.
Yeah.
Just how do you deal with that, and then how good was it to get that big clutch hit yesterday?
Yeah, I've had a good year for the most part, like you said. But I've kind of hit a little lump in the road here. It's been tough, but I'm just trying to still grind out at bats and just compete. I know it's coming. I know there's better days ahead, and just kind of looking back on my success is kind of giving me confidence for the next at bats that are come my way.
What'd you hit last night on that? I think it was an 0-1 pitch. I think.
Yeah, it was a fastball. He lifted it over the plate a little bit. First pitch was a slider. Wasn't my pitch, and I knew I had to get a pitch so I could drive, get those runners in. They left the fastball over the plate, and I just put a swing on it.
I think they had a hole there with the shift. Is that were you kind of aiming for that, or was that just the way it worked out?
Yeah, you would like to say you're aiming there, but it's just kind of where the ball went.
No, that's what good hitters do.
That's right.
And I don't know, with Peyton right there next to you, what do you thought about the way Peyton's done filling in for the other Peyton, and he's hit so well and played such good defense?
Yeah, Peyton's done an awesome job. Really just stepping up when his name's called. He's playing really good for us, having really good at bats, just slowing the game down. I mean, last night making that play at second base, the heads-up play, really was a momentum killer for LSU. And that kind of brought the momentum back on our side. He's been really good for us.
And Peyton, I mean, I think you had good numbers at Crowder. You obviously were a good player, but man, you're hitting about 400, and most of it's been against SEC teams. You're playing great defense like you play. I guess what's this stretch been like for you since you got into the starting lineup on a regular basis?
I mean, it's been a lot of fun, especially since we're winning most of the games. Just kind of go out there doing my thing. Not trying to make it bigger than it is, because I mean it is. I mean, playing in big games, it's kind of easy to get sped up, make it bigger than it is. Just trying to go out there, stay relaxed, and just play the game, let it come to you.
When you haven't been playing on a regular basis, and then you come in, you're so successful. What's the key to that?
Like I said, just staying relaxed, especially only getting a couple shots. It's easy to get sped up, make it a bigger situation. Try and get yours, and you just got to let the game come to you. And I think I've done a pretty good job at it.
You can't help but notice when you run the bases, invariably your helmet comes flying off. I was talking to somebody, I'm not gonna say who, that they said, "Oh, I think he likes that to show off his hair." I wonder what the deal with that is.
No, well, I could get a smaller helmet probably, but at this point, the streak we're on, how we're playing, I don't want to stir anything up, so I'm just gonna keep that helmet for now.
And what do you think about the way we'd say Jace had a little mini slump here, but he's been really good all year, leading hitter, leading in home runs. Just what do you think about what he's meant to the team season he's had?
I mean, it's been awesome to just watch him and to play with him. He's definitely one of our top hitters, and I mean, every hitter goes through a little rough patch, and he's done a really good job not letting it affect him in the field. He's still making plays and just giving us good ABs even when he's not getting on base. It means something towards the end of the game. I think he's done a really good job all year.
Jace, you can help but notice you got 16 hit by pitches. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't really stand on top of the plate, so it's really just a matter of fact of guys just coming in on me, maybe missing their spot, and I'm not really going to move out of the way just because I know I can get on base if it hits me. So.
Yeah, is that the definition of taking one for the team when you're taking that many?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then you played all the outfield spots with the injuries. And I think you played them all pretty well. What's that been like for you, and how good is it to have your outfield mates back?
Yeah, so it's been pretty different. Starting out in right field, moving over to the left, and then actually playing center. Really different ball flights from each position. Center, you get a little more true ball flight. Then on the corners, you got the foul grounds to worry about and the slice. So it was kind of a learning experience from all playing all those positions, but it was pretty fun. And then having all my so it's the starting outfield that got hurt back with Jared and Tavian. It's been a blast getting to play with them. They've done really good. The chemistry's there, and I think it's going to help us on our run down here in the postseason.
You guys, obviously the other teams are playing. You guys in Florida have off. Just how good is it to have an off day? Kind of come out here, have a nice, relaxing workout, I guess. And what are your plans for the rest of the day?
Yeah, it's always nice when you have an off day. Just going to relax, get your body ready for the next day. Come out here and take a couple swings, get a light lift in, just doing all the things necessary to get ready for tomorrow. But for me personally, I really don't know what I'm going to do the rest of the day. I might watch some baseball games, just relax, maybe go eat with my family.
Peyton, how good is it to have an off day?
It means a lot, especially got some of us banged up, just trying to get a little bit of rest, get some field swings, not swing too much since we're playing, get what you can, get out. For the rest of the day, probably just watch some baseball, go eat, maybe shop a little bit since we're right next to the mall. That's about it.
Have you watched that play on replay, the double play?
I've watched it a few times, yeah.
I have.
Yeah, hey, Jace, what'd you think of that play?
Yeah, I talked about it earlier. Really heads up. I mean, got runners on first and second. There was a shortstop, I believe, that hit that ball, so he can run a little bit. So just heads up play by Peyton, knowing that he probably wasn't going to get him. And then to arm fake and throw it back to third with Callie being there is some extreme awareness.
Watching it on replay, what'd you think?
I mean, I talked to my JUCO coach yesterday, and he told me that the amount of times that I've tried that at JUCO and it never worked. And just for it to be perfect, Callie being there, heads up, it was pretty cool for it to finally be executed, and it actually changed the game for us.
So Crowder, did you throw it in the dugout, or what happened?
I didn't know. I wouldn't say I threw it in the dugout. Just most of the runners, they wouldn't even come off the bag, or the third baseman wouldn't be there. It's a different type of talent, at this level. And so Callie being there, I mean, it's really heads up for him too.